Okay, I think I have this working so that I can record a video for you today. I am not exactly 100% sure how this is going to work, but we're going to try to make this effective. So first thing, hi. We are planning to have our classes asynchronously for at least the next 2 weeks. We're going to see how that goes this week. I'll reevaluate next week. If I need to, we'll have classes during our class time next week. But again, I'm hoping that I can record some videos, give you some videos to watch, have workshop times available for you so that you can work one-on-one with me if you need to, and then have assignments due so that we can keep up with the material, particularly keep up with our AAC surveys and doing the visualizations for those surveys, so that we can eventually present that information, however that's going to be presented. Again, I think we don't know if there'll be a showcase in person. I'm still hoping that's the case. But if not, we're going to adjust how that is presented to make sure that you still can present your projects. So the first thing for this week, the thing that we need to make sure we're getting done is collecting data for those surveys. I went and I've looked at all of the surveys across both of my TWC classes. On average, we have about 35 responses for each survey. One of the surveys has 80 some, which is really good, but just in general, we need more responses. So my plan for this week, for the first day, was going to work with our AAC data, but we don't have enough yet. So the first thing you're going to be assigned this week to do is to get more survey responses. So the survey links are posted in announcements in our classroom on Canvas. You should be emailing those to friends, particularly if you have a survey that only requires or only needs ASU students. Make sure you're only sending it to ASU students. But for those surveys that can be anyone, make sure you can send them to other people. But if you are looking for ASU students, sending them to your friends, having your friends send them on. One of my classes suggested creating an Instagram account and then using that account to send out the survey link. I've heard you can airdrop your survey link, so anybody who is still on campus who would like to go and airdrop their survey link to some other people, that would be great. But realistically, every single person in this class, in your class, both of the classes, since this video is for both of my TWC classes, everyone needs to be working really hard to get survey responses. We can't do the next assignment if you don't have enough responses. So that's your first task. By Wednesday at midnight, I would like everyone to spend some considerable time getting survey responses. Can't track that in terms of grades, but please, you need the data to be able to do your work. So please get those survey responses. The second thing that's on my list, I'm looking at my list here. So the second thing we're going to do this week is I'm going to teach you a new type of chart. I will show you a video today, and then I'm going to go through and show you how to do it. And then I'm going to give you a data set, and you're going to do it yourself. So that's the first thing that I'm going to actually teach you this week. So I'm going to teach you how to do bubble charts. And then that'll be today's lesson, this first video. So I'm going to finish up with the bubble charts. That'll be today. You'll have an assignment that's going to be due on Wednesday by midnight, where you'll do your own bubble chart. Basically, you're just going to follow along with what I've done and do it yourself. And then, so that'll be due Wednesday. Then later in the week, I'm going to post a second video, probably sometime around Wednesday. And that second video is going to hopefully be walking you through how to clean your data for the AAC. And then it will explain to you what you're going to need to do with your AAC data. So by Thursday, I will have the data posted for you so you can do the remaining assignments for the week. So again, I might post the video Wednesday. I may wait till Thursday to post the video, only because it'll depend on whether or not there's enough data, so I can show you how to clean the data. But again, this first video, we're going to do bubble charts. You're going to have an assignment due Wednesday that's going to be the bubble chart. Then you're going to get another video that'll explain to you how to clean your AAC data. It will give you the AAC data, and then I'll show you what I'm going to ask you to do with it. First, you're going to create some data tables. That'll be due Friday, and then by Sunday you'll have some draft charts. So all of this is on Canvas in terms of the assignments. The videos are obviously not done, but they'll be there when they're ready. But all the assignments are on Canvas. So if you want to look through and see what's coming, what we're going to be doing, you are free to do that. Next week's assignments are not edited on Canvas. I'm going to edit them as we go, just because I want to see how it's working. And my intention though is to stay on track with what we were planning to do, not change things significantly. Okay, I think I explained that as well as I possibly can. So we are going to talk about bubble charts, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a video. I will link this video on Canvas as well, so in case you want to come back to it alone and not the whole recording I'm doing, then I can do that. But I'm going to try to play the video. Hopefully it will play and work. I need to figure out how to do that, but I think if I share this, we're good. Okay, so we watched the video. Hopefully you kind of learned how to do a bubble chart. I'm going to show you more in depth. I will say, number one, not a big fan of the 3D. So if you wanted to do something similar with the charts I'm going to show you to make next, please feel free, but don't do the 3D. And the other is, he didn't have an active title. So definitely want to make sure your titles are more active when you're making your own charts. But otherwise, the actual steps to doing the bubble chart, pretty much the same. I liked that video particularly because he showed you how to edit the axis to make the bubbles different sizes. And I'm going to show you how to do that as well when I show you how to do it. So that is what we're going to work on next. I'm going to show you how to create your own bubble chart using some data I'm providing you. So on Canvas, again, I've moved this week up to the top. So on Canvas, under modules, you'll see this week, and then you'll see the file that I'm going to use for this. I kind of decided that it might be interesting if we looked at some COVID-19 data, because that's why we're here online. So I found some data that we're going to use for our bubble chart. Hopefully it's interesting. I found it pretty interesting when I actually went and looked at the data. So I'm going to share my screen again. I think this will work. Let's see. And yay, actually you can see me. So what I'm going to have you do is you're going to download the file when you're ready to work on it. And you can see, just so that you can reference it on your final version, the statistics that I have are all from these 3 websites, particularly Our World and Data is the coronavirus the death rate statistics came from that. The Statista is the minimum for the median age data. And then the Gapminder, I got the total health spending as a percent of GDP. So I wanted to see, it was just kind of interesting or interested in seeing, was there any kind of interesting correlation between people who are dying, their age, and or how much the country actually spends on healthcare in that country? Is there any kind of interesting correlation we could see? So to create a bubble chart, the first thing that you're going to want to do, like I said in the video, is you don't want to highlight any of the labels. You just want to highlight the data. So once you have the data highlighted, you'll do insert, and then you're going to check, there's the little array area, and you're going to select bubble chart. Again, don't pick the 3D bubbles. Please do not pick the 3D bubbles. Don't like that. We'll pick the regular bubble chart. So I see a lot of interesting things in this chart. So it's decided to go ahead and put the death rate, oops. It's going to put the death rate on this axis. And then we've got on this axis, we've got median age. And so then the bubble sizes are going to represent the total health spending as a percent of GDP. I think I like that because I feel like I did try this chart a couple of different ways by rearranging the columns before I made my chart. It's the easiest way when you're talking about 3 different variables to make those changes. And I felt like when I played around with it, that I wanted to see the death rate clearly and age. And that GDP was kind of something we could see with that size of the bubble. The size of the bubble wasn't really going to vary a lot. If you looked at death rate, the range is only between 0.2 and a 5, so the size isn't going to vary very much. Same thing with median age. The size wasn't varying as much, but the GDP, there's a fairly nice range of GDP, so that will help. So I've got my chart here. Now, normally I'm going to tell you to move the chart. But today I think I'm not, just because I want to be able to show you everything on one screen a little bit more easily. When you're making your own, please move the chart to a new tab. That helps you save it as a PDF. It helps me see it. It helps you see it. So again, you're going to click on it, and you'll just do move chart to a new sheet. So we have this chart here though, and like he had on his video, the labels aren't there. Even on ours, we have a negative going down there. The reason why it does that, it creates this negative even though none of the numbers are negative, is so that that bubble can fall below the 0 line because it's so low down. I will probably edit that so that it doesn't do that. I don't think it looks really good. Obviously, one of the first things we're going to do is get rid of our lines. We don't like those to be there. And as he said, they're kind of all clustered together there. So what I think I'd like to do is kind of spread everything out so it's not all clustered together in the middle, or right there on the kind of middle right. So we want to change the axes to give, because we don't need all of this white space in here. So I'm going to double click on this axis. And then my minimum, it looks like I could probably make my minimum somewhere around a 25. So let's try that. See how nicely that spreads out now? It's kind of spreading over this way. I could probably even make it a little bit lower. Let's make that a 28. Median age. The lowest median age looks like to be 30 for the world. So let's do 30. It's a little cut off, so I'm gonna make it a 28. Okay, there we go. Probably even make it 20. Yeah, that looks nice. So 29 gives us, so we can see all the bubbles. And then let's change this. So again, I don't want the negative number. And it looks like the highest number is of death. On the death rate, sorry, got a little lost, is a 7%. Sorry, I had to try to see, look at the numbers here. So I'm going to select that axis. I'm going to click data and number, because that didn't come up, sorry, data and axis options, because it didn't come up. I'm going to try to take this out and see what it looks like. Take out the negative, let's set it at 0. It's okay, maybe let's do negative 0.01. Yeah, we'll leave the negative there. It's just because, again, there is a 0, there are some close to 0% on there. And then let's make the maximum, not 0.09, let's make it 0.07. That's not gonna work, it's 0.08. Okay. So now we've spread those out a little bit. I'm gonna move my chart over so I can just see everything. I feel like this maximum is actually a little too great as well. So I'm gonna go back and edit this axis. You can always, as you can always see, if it's not there, you click on the 3 bars because that gives you the data. And again, axis options. So let's not make our maximum 54. Median age, looks like the highest median age is 45. So let's make it 46. Nope, that's a little bit too big. Make it 48. So again, I'm playing around. When you make your own, I want you to play around with these and see what's going to look the best for your particular chart. You're using the same data, you can use the same numbers as I do, but I'd like you to play around with it. So I'm not going to tell you, you have to set it at 29, you have to set it at 49. But you can see kind of why I'm making these choices. So when you look at the different bubbles, it's a little hard now still to tell what these are representing because we don't have any axis labels. We don't have any data labels at all. So I want to label this axis. And so I can add an axis label, axis title, and then I can put in the title. So this one is the COVID-19 death rate. So it's the number of people, or by the number of cases, how many people are dying per location. So that's our death rate. And then for this axis, this is our median age of the population. So this is not the median age of people who are dying, it's the median age of the population of the country. So you can see one of the things, and this bubble right here is going to be Italy because, I'm sorry, that's not Italy. Actually it is. So you can see on here, Italy's death rate is the highest at 7%. And they also, which there is some correlation to, have the highest median age of the whole group here. So their median age is highest, their death rate is highest. And one of the other things now we can see, because we can look at the relative size of the different bubbles, they actually have a fairly small bubble too. So that means that their total health spending is actually the lowest on the chart. So 4.8 as a percent of their gross domestic product. So as much as they have that they're making, they're only spending 4.8% on healthcare. So if we were going to try to look at correlation causation, obviously you'd want to do some more statistical analysis, but there's some kind of interesting correlation between the age of the population and how much they're spending on healthcare in that country. So you can also see all of the data points where they're at. So we need to label our data points as well. So let's add data labels so we can see the percentage. But it is labeling it with the death rate. And I would really like to see the total health spending of GDP. So data labels, let's see if we can put more options here. Okay, so I've changed it. Instead of having it labeled with the value there, I'm actually changing it to bubble size. So we can see that's that percent spending GDP number. So that should correlate to those numbers right here in this column right here. It would be nice to be able to say percent. I know if I change these values to percent, it's probably going to change the numbers. So I'm going to copy it. I am going to paste it as a value, and then I'm going to add the percent. Nope, it's not going to do it. And do that. Okay. Okay, we've gotten back to the numbers. That's a lot better. So we can label, we can individually label these. We'll put in the chart title what the actual label of this is. The health spending is percent of GDP, so that we can know what those bubbles actually mean. I wouldn't want to label each of those individually. I don't want to put a call out or anything else. We don't want to put a legend that will tell us. So we want to be able to actually put these in here. So 4.5 or 5.6%, I am going to manually put in the percent number for these so we can know that this is a 5.6%. So we can change the data labels, make sure that they are indicated as a percentage. And then we want to look at our data and figure out, okay, what are we actually wanting to say, right? We're trying to tell a story. We want to be able to put an active title on this. I certainly am going to go and edit all of the labels and make sure they're clearly marking things. So I want to say something about this data though. I want to look at it and figure out what is it telling me. So we can certainly see that by the different countries, some of the countries that have the higher death rates are the smaller dots, right? So even though here we have some fairly low median ages, we have some very small dots. Here, and I believe this is the world overall average. The world average age is fairly low. We have a lot of countries where people die very young. So overall, the world average age is very low. And overall, the world average spending on healthcare as a percent of GDP is low to middle. Dots fairly small comparatively. So I don't see, maybe the correlation here is going to be more death rate and spending versus age. But when you put both of them together, when you have lower spending and higher age population, you're getting a huge difference in our death rate. This, again, very interesting dot, because you can see the age of the population here is pretty high. Their spending as a percentage of their GDP is so much greater. Their death rate is so much lower. And I think this is Switzerland, if I remember correctly. 11.6. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Germany. But you can see similar trends in the data. So if I was going to say something about this, we could honestly say that COVID-19 death rate may correlate to increased population age and decreased health spending. More people die as the age of the population increases and the spending on healthcare decreases. That's probably the best thing I could say in terms of an active title for this. So we'll change our chart title. Now, and then the title might be too many words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's a little long. I think we tend to want 12. Get rid of the. As population ages and healthcare spending is lower. That kind of looks nice. Now remember, we want to left justify our title. So we're going to go home, left justify that title. And on the Mac, remember, you're going to have to go in, delete that title, and insert a text box so that you can left justify that and move it over. COVID-19 death rate increases as population ages and healthcare, like that on a separate line. Healthcare spending lowers. I think that's a really good active title. We've edited our axes. We've got data labels, which when you go to do your own chart, you would go in and put the percentage. Oh, we needed to actually label this health spending. So we do need to talk about healthcare spending as a percent of GDP, so that we know that that's what that third variable is, because you have 1, 2, 3 variables. You could actually also, when you manually label it, put that on there so that we know if you want to be very specific, but I think the title will be good enough in this case. The last thing you would want to do is go through and change the colors from the default colors. So if you wanted to, you could change each individual color, maybe something related to the different countries. I'm going to leave this up to you, how you would like to do the final editing. You'd want to use the checklist and do that for yourself. You'd like to get flags and put flags on there as long as you're not using the 3D. I think that would be very cool and interesting. But you could do something just as simple as saying, okay, I know that the 6.95 there, I look at my chart, that's the world. So I could, we'll leave that blue. 5.6% is Iran. So I could figure out what the colors on the Iranian flag are and pick a color that's related. Picked one that I don't know, but I could search for Iran flag. And I could get an image. Wikipedia is nice because you can generally get copyright-free images on Wikipedia. Typically, they're decent style. We're going to download that file. I'm going to show you again. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to do fill, picture or texture from a file. Let's look at my downloads. Download. Might be because it's an SVG file that it does not want to incorporate into Excel. Yeah, it doesn't want to do that because it's an SVG file. I think it's not going to insert that stuff. Yep. So let's find a different file type. You can see I didn't plan this part. I was going to have you just go and do it yourselves, but I figured I'd show you how. And so one of the ways you can find, if I didn't show you this yet, is to use the tools. I always like to use a very large image, and then we can look for a type. PNG works really well. I won't look, let me select for a file type. So I can put PNG in there. And again, when you pick something where you're using a similar style file for each flag. Save image as. Save that. Let's go back. There we go. So again, make sure you're using good contrast with your data labels. So we've got our data label there. I'm probably going to want to make that something a little bit more readable. If I'm going to use the flags, I'll probably actually do these next too. And I want to play with the size a little bit. Make them a little bigger. So you'll want to go through, do editing, play with the labeling. If you want to put the flags in, great. If not, just choose some colors that might be representative of a country, or if you really wanted to highlight this particularly significant number, you could make this a particular color and then the rest of these a different color. Just don't use the default colors. Make sure you're using the right font sizes, hierarchy, you're highlighting something that's relevant or interesting. But basically, I'm looking for you to make this chart on your own and practice doing bubble charts. Because now, once you have the concept and know how to make a bubble chart, when we do eventually get to Sunday and I have you making a chart with your AAC data, you could actually use 3 variables and make a bubble chart for that AAC data chart. So I wanted to teach you how to do this because hopefully by Sunday you'll be able to do it for your own data. So that was a very long-winded way of explaining again how to make your bubble charts. I think we have tasks for this next few days. First task is get more survey data. So you're going to get more survey data. You're going to make sure your surveys, you have as many people as possible surveyed, so you can get accurate data that you can actually do something with. Second thing you're going to do is you are going to review the how to make a bubble chart information I just presented. You can watch the video again if you need to, this one or the YouTube video. Then you're going to download the COVID data file. You're going to create your own bubble chart, just like this one, has an active title, all of the axes are labeled, the data should be labeled. You should not be using default colors. You should be using different font sizes. You can change up the style. You should be making it clear, clean, concise. Don't do anything too colorful or outlandish or outrageous. You want to make sure it's clear and clean and concise. And that's your assignment for this week. Please remember, I am available for workshops. So you just need to text me or email me and say, hey, I would like to have a workshop time. This is the time that I would like to do the workshop. I will let you know if I can do that because I am going to be trying to be at home most of the time. My time is pretty open. I am doing my Uni 220 classes synchronously, so I still have those times, and my ASU 121 classes I'm going to be doing synchronously. So those times are not available. But otherwise, I have a lot of availability. So I can generally say, yeah, I'm available, and I'm okay if you want to do it later in the evening. Tend to not want to do things after maybe 10 o'clock at night Arizona time, and I'm not usually going to want to be up before 7 Arizona time, but otherwise I am free to create a workshop time with you. So what that would mean is you'd come into this Zoom classroom. I will probably create a breakout room for us so that it can be private, because as you may not know or know, basically my classroom is always open, and so if you come in here and I'm in here talking to somebody, you're going to be visiting us. So please don't come into the Zoom, particularly when it's not a time we've set up, because if it's my class time, you're going to come in and interrupt a class. But you can text me, we can set up a time. You will come into the Zoom classroom, and then what we'll do is I will set it up so you can share your screen with me and I can share my screen with you. This share button up here allows you to do that. So then you can share your screen with me. I can share with you. You can see, we can help each other figure out what the problem is, and then I can help you solve it, hopefully. So I will help you with your homework for this class. I will help you with walking you through things. Whatever it is we need to do, we can set up a Zoom workshop time for that. Also, same thing with office hours. Like if you wanted to talk about something unrelated to a specific class topic, but things like grades, attendance, you want to talk about technology issues, you have personal things that are going on in other classes that you need assistance with, you are absolutely welcome to come and set up an office hours time with me to do the same thing. We'll just come into Zoom. I will set up a private room for us so that we can chat and care of it that way. Okay, well, I miss seeing everybody. Hopefully I'll hear from you in some other way. If you need something, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna shut up now and hopefully this video worked. See you again in a couple of days when I post a new video. Bye.